Buying leads as an insurance agency is broken. And if you're the owner of an agency, you already know the pain. Your revenue is always based off of your effort, cold calls, chasing dead leads, and spending money on weak marketing. But what if I told you there was a better way? One that added $90,000 per month to the agency of a broker I know, all without spending a dime on leads or ads. So in this video, I'm going to build the exact $1.1 million outreach system that made that possible step by step. So if you're tired of working 25-hour days, 8 days a week, and especially done with buying leads, just watch this video because it's going to change how you grow your agency forever. So with our beautiful board here, let's go ahead and just start by breaking down the numbers. But before we get started, what you need to know is that this $1.1 million lead generation system wasn't even direct to client. It didn't require buying leads. It didn't require spending thousands of dollars on ads. All it relied on was just referral partner generation for the broker's agency. So let's break down the numbers over here with this real life example. Now this is under an NDA, so I can't leak any details, but this broker added $90,000 per month to his agency. And he started doing this 3 to 5 years ago, and he did this over a time of a few years. And guess what? He did all of this manually. And this is extremely shocking, and it's really good for you because it means that if a broker was able to do this by sending out manuals one by one manually, then there surely must be a way to do this on a large scale and get many more referral partners than that. And all I can say for sure is that this is 100% true. In 2026, it's easier than ever to automate emails. This campaign, which we've been running for only a week, as you can see here, from January 31st to February 6th, we can see that we sent 10,000 emails. So per day that we are sending out, we're getting a 4% reply rate, and the leads that we've currently contacted haven't even been through our full sequence of emails. And so far, we've managed to get 58 opportunities. So you might say something like, that's cool, but you probably did it for your own service. And that is true. We did do it for our own service. If you look everywhere, you'll see that many businesses are getting crazy results with cold email, regardless of what industry they're in. And that's a key part of it because email can work for any industry. As you can see here, this is a campaign which we launched for one PNC agency targeting loan officers and mortgage lenders. I'll explain why we chose loan officers and mortgage lenders specifically, but just take a look at these replies. And so with this kind of a system, we're getting tens of positive replies per week, and we're able to schedule meetings. As you can see in this one loan officer that we contacted simply went ahead and shared his calendar link. So we didn't actually even have to ask him to book with us. And even when those people say that the time is not right, they always say something like, I'll add your contact so that we can reach out to you on your next deal. Typically, most of the no's we receive are from people established in those industries. It's very likely that they've been in the business for upwards of 30 years, so they already have some referral partner networks established. But typically, a large portion of the replies are positive, which allows to get opportunities like these. So without me babbling on about the results that we've gotten, let me actually show you how you can do this yourself and walk through the entire framework behind it. So first, we need to understand why this works and how it actually works. So for this part specifically, take your agency. Then think of cold email as a means of reaching out to these 5 profiles. And this includes mortgage brokers, real estate agents, loan officers, financial advisors, as well as CPAs. And these people are usually pretty great because they have a lot of people asking for insurance. They actually understand what the value of insurance is and respect your time and your effort. And most importantly, they have your dream clients. Referral partners like these often work for all types of insurance, but it's important to note that people like financial advisors and CPAs will be better suited towards life insurance, whereas people like loan officers, real estate agents, and mortgage brokers, who are usually involved with homes and selling them, will be more fit for PNC insurance agents. But either way, regardless of whether you're a life insurance agent or a PNC agent, you have a lot of people to reach out to. There are hundreds of thousands real estate agents in America and many more mortgage brokers, loan officers, and other people. So with this in mind, these people are actually willing to trade leads oftentimes just because they want a good reputation for themselves, maybe some leads for themselves, and much more. And as you can see, this broker was able to secure the additional $90,000 per month or $1.1 million per year on the recurring system, which he actually executed on manually. But today I'm going to show you how to automate it. So let's get straight into that. So here we have the build process. Now the build process involves 7 or so steps, but let's take it one step at a time. The first thing that you have to do is analyze your agency. And this starts with identifying your ideal partners. So as I said before, if you're a PNC insurance agent, you're probably going to be better fit contacting people like mortgage lenders, loan officers, and real estate agents. Whereas if you're in life insurance, it's probably better to target financial advisors and CPAs. So after you've got that nailed down, I would recommend you limit yourself to one type of referral partners as you start out. You can always add more later. So for example, if you're targeting mortgage lenders, you can go for real estate agents after that. Moving on, you would then analyze your differentiators. Now, differentiators are just things that would make your agency stand out in an email. So some common differentiators will probably include awards that your brokerage has received, the number of carriers that you have access to, basically anything that would make your ideal partner read the email and instantly recognize you as someone with authority, someone with credibility, and someone who can take care of their leads well. And so after you've got that done, you can pretty much get into the value props. And value props, they can often be tied in with the differentiators. So as I said, if you have access to over 100 carriers, for example, maybe that could be both your differentiator and your value prop, but just go ahead and write those out as you're watching this video. Feel free to pause it. That's what I recommend you to do. Next up, after you've analyzed your agency and performed these 3 steps, is writing the offer as well as the copy. We're obviously going to be positioning ourselves as people who they can refer leads to for insurance, and positioning usually matters most for the first email, but we're still going to have a 4-email sequence just because in my experience, the money is always in the follow-ups. So a 4-email sequence works absolutely perfectly. And so right now what I'm actually going to do is write out a sample 4-email sequence for a mock agency that I have made up. So starting with email 1, where we are going to have the subject line, and I'm going to be teaching you some tricks along the way with cold email here as we start getting it set up. So feel free to jot any of them down. But what I'd recommend you to also do is watch this video once without actually implementing it, just so you understand what goes into the process. You can still make small notes about analyzing your agency if they come up the first time you watch the video, but I would say just watch through it once, and then the second time watch it again so you can actually implement it. So to make this simple, I'm actually going to be writing the copy in these 4 boxes so that it's simple for you to access it once you download it. And you can actually download it by joining our free school community. That's going to be the first link in the description, where you're going to be able to access this entire template as well as our free lead generation course. So for the first email, assuming I'm someone like a PNC agent who operates in California, Oregon, and Washington, let me go ahead and write out a copy for this. So for the greeting, I would usually open up with something casual, and just to let you know, the way this email sending will work is because we can send out emails at mass volumes, what we are going to be doing is basically having variables inside of here. So think of the variable as kind of like a dynamic value. Regardless, if I have a list of 1,000 loan officers, their names are different. So there's Jake, there's Julia. So for every email I send out, for example, if I'm sending out an email to Jake's email, which could be something like jake@loanofficer.com, it would automatically fill this in to be Jake so that the email gets sent with the correct name and to the correct person. And so over here, what I've gone ahead and done is pretty much written out the entire 4-email sequence that would be fit for a PNC agent. Now, if you're a life insurance agent, what you would do is you would probably just take these exact pieces of copy and just change them up for something like a financial advisor or a CPA. But as you can see here, the pattern is relatively simple. We're just sending the main email with your value proposition, and we're trying to make it seem as human as possible because there are a lot of AI emails out there nowadays, and I receive hundreds on a daily basis. So just let them know you're human. Say something like, I was totally stalking your page. In this case, we would probably say LinkedIn page. That's most appropriate. Then you would maybe call out some sort of pain point, like, I know that you as a loan officer, your clients are probably asking many things, insurance being one of them. So that's how you naturally lead into your value proposition. Next, and here's where the actual value proposition comes. You tell them who you are in a very simple way, and you tell them what you can offer. And after you announce your value proposition, what you want to do is just list a few things that would be helpful to them. So obviously to a loan officer, access to 100 plus carriers, that could be a bonus because there's a lot of variety, and it means you can really cater to all of their clients. A dedicated service team and claims team, that's super helpful. I mean, who would say no to a team that's literally dedicated to them? And then possibly some credibility, like one of the fastest growing brokerages in the country. Ideally, you would back it up with something like your experience. So maybe you've been in business for 24 years, or maybe you've won some sort of award, or you've gotten some sort of certification. Ideally, you would back it up with that. And then you just give them a very simple way to reply so you can give them more information. A lot of loan officers conveniently will be very willing to chat on the first try, but regardless, what we found to be most helpful is just giving them a simple option to reply with a yes if this sounds like a good idea. And this also has some sort of psychological impact too. So if I'm replying yes to an email, that automatically makes me think like I'm replying to something positively and that it's good for me. And then account signature is just another variable. I'll explain that in just a second. And so with emails too, our follow-up emails. Now, a lot of people will urge you to make them pretty much the same, but that's a totally wrong piece of advice. Why would you make 3 emails with the same messaging? So all of them can be follow-up emails, and that is a good idea. But for each of those emails, you want to, of who you are, at a different angle each time. So with the second email, you can add in some more credibility. So you can say something like, for context, the last loan officer we worked with got positive outcome, which will establish both your credibility and give them an incentive to reach out to you. And for email number 3, they still don't know who you are, and they might not get on a 30-minute call with you just because they're super busy. But instead of getting on a call, what's even simpler is sending them a quick 2 to 3 minute video. Once again, all they have to do is just reply something like yes, and you can send them this quick video. And then for the fourth email, this can just be a typical follow-up email, but again, it must be human, so you can say something like, just wanted to circle back one last time, wanted to let you know I'm not AI, just because there are once again a lot of AI emails out there. And you would let them know a very simple way. And then at the end, you can say something like, if not, you won't be contacted again. That just kind of gives them the idea that if they even want to remotely talk with you or reach out to you, they should probably do it, because otherwise they won't be contacted again. And so these are 4 really valuable pieces of copy that we've used for other insurance agencies. And I'm giving all of this out for free. Feel free to join our community of insurance agents and claim that free lead generation course I was talking about. But either way, after we've gotten the offer and the copy nailed down, so the positioning as well as this 4 email sequence over here, we can move on to the next step, which is building out the lead list. Now, building out the lead list is probably one of the most boring but important things that you can do for referral partner generation. And the way you build this lead list is you go to a platform like Apollo. I'm sure many of us are familiar with Apollo, or Sales Navigator, which is basically kind of a better version of Apollo, even though it's a bit more expensive. And what you do is you scrape leads off of there and you verify their emails. So right now I'm just going to share a different screen, guide you through on how you can get those leads and on how you can verify those emails. So for the sake of this video and for the sake of simplicity, we're going to be using Apollo. So what you want to do is you want to go to apollo.io. Apollo is basically a prospecting platform. So when you're logged in and you're on the main screen, the home screen, you're going to go down to this prospect and enrich section, and you're going to go to the people section. And what you'll see here is just an enormous database of leads you can contact. Now, Apollo basically gets its leads from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has a lot of members. So there's over 200 million people on Apollo alone. And Apollo makes it super simple. Basically, all you have to do is just click on a few filters to isolate the ICP, or basically the referral partners that you want to find. I'm going to walk through this right now. Starting with the email status filter. Because we're emailing these people, we want to make sure that the emails we get are 100% correct and are not fake emails or emails that do not exist. So for the sake of this, we're going to click on take only verified emails. Next up, we can optionally add job titles. I know for a fact that with people like loan officers, they don't often have a title, but oftentimes they just have themselves written as loan officers. So for the sake of this, we're just going to have 5 simple titles over here. We're going to have owner, managing director, CEO, founder. Next up, what we are going to do is just restrict these people to a certain location, number of employees, and filter them out with keywords. So with location, you're pretty much just going to go for your location. I mean, there isn't much else to say. Usually we do this by state. So if I wanted to find some loan officers in California, I'm just going to type in California. And as you can see here, our lead list is getting smaller and smaller. Previously, we had 235 million people in the entire database, but now as we're applying filters, this has gone down to 172,000 people, which is still quite a bit. Next up, we want to get to the employees. With referral partners, you usually want to target small to mid-sized businesses. So for the sake of this, we're going to go for 11 to 20, 21 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 200, and maybe 201 to 500 people in these companies. And once again, we've decreased the number of people in our list. It's only 56,000 now. And finally, for the keywords, we can start typing in words like mortgage services or mortgage lending, just so we can keep narrowing this list down. And by this point, you'll probably see that we have 8,600 people inside of here. One thing I did do is I completely removed the job titles that we had before, just because loan officers and mortgage lenders, their titles are often a bit different. So they're not exactly clear like manager or director. Oftentimes they're just going to be mortgage loan officer, mortgage lender, and they can really vary. So with certain people, you don't want to use the job titles feature. But now as we've narrowed this list down to 8,600 people, I think we're pretty much good to go. Usually with lists, you should aim to get around 5,000 to 10,000 people on them. And from there, you're pretty much good to get those leads and start loading them up inside of your campaign. And after you've successfully found your list, there are usually 2 options to get all of these hidden leads over here inside of your campaign. And the way you usually do this is you go onto this service called Appify and you go to this leads finder. I'm going to link this directly in the description. And so what you're going to do after you sign up to Appify, you're pretty much going to ignore everything on here and you're just going to go directly to the scraper. And what the scraper kind of allows you to do is use the exact same filters over here that we previously used here. So you might ask, why didn't we just go ahead and put in the filters here? Why did we have to do it here and then do it here and then do it inside of here? The reason we did that is because we wanted to see exactly how many leads we should have gotten. Seeing as we now have 8,600 leads, which is a good number, copy the same filters inside of Appify over here. Once you've copied in these exact filters, so you're going to specify the numbers of leads you're fetching, you're going to type in something like 8,600 and you're going to put in whatever filters we had before. So we had the company size. You're just going to select the exact same numbers we had before and type in the exact same keywords we had before, as well as the industry if you had that. And then you're pretty much going to save and start. And what's going to happen after that is that as soon as the run finishes, it's going to tell you that everything has been completed and it's going to give you a file, because here you're specifying a file name. And that file is actually going to include all of the leads you had here, along with their emails, along with everything you really need. And from here, what you would have to do is plug these into an email verification system. Email verification is super important because when we will get to the setup of mailboxes, you must make sure that pretty much every email you're sending to actually exists and isn't a fake and isn't something that's going to take you straight to spam. For verifying leads, I would recommend something like Mailtester Ninja. It's super cool. It's super affordable. I think last time I checked the pricing, less than 1/10 of a cent for each verification. So it's really cool. I'm not sponsored by them by any means, but if you're going to use something, I would use them. Now, the second strategy you have to scraping and verifying leads is honestly far simpler. You go to trustedleads.io, and this was my favorite for a really long time, and I still often use it. Is you're pretty much just going to go here, you're going to click on buy verified emails, and you're just going to submit a lead order below. So I'm going to type in all of my details here, and here when we get to the scraping options, all you're going to select is provide my Apollo URL for a human. Is you would go back to Apollo, you would copy this exact link as you have it here, and you would simply paste it inside of here. And then you would select the number of leads, of course. So in my case, it's 8,600. And so for me, 8,600 leads would cost $43. And if I also want to verify them, I can do that for $17.20 because there's some sort of fee for that. And your total for these 8,600 leads will actually be $60.20. And the cool part about this is that they can also verify your leads. So that's where this cost comes from. Honestly, it's super simple. So you would pay $60 for almost 10,000 leads that you can contact, and then you pretty much just submit your order. It does take a few days to receive it, but during those few days, you can be setting up your campaigns. And so once you've gotten these leads, either from Trusted Leads or you maybe scrape from Appify and then verify them in Mailtester Ninja, you're in a really good position to pretty much almost start launch. But there are a few more steps that we need to go through first. And if you've been watching the video up until this point, and if you're curious about some of the more advanced processes that we undergo to personalize every email to 10,000 leads like we do in our more advanced campaigns, and get some faster and reliable results for yourself, you can actually schedule a free 30-minute consultation with us using the second link in the description. It's totally free, and we'll chat there for 30 minutes to fix your agency's pipeline. And so after you've built your lead list and you've gotten it, we can now move on to the email infrastructure. This is going to be a lot of math, so I'd recommend you pay very careful attention to this. Domains usually cost around $15 to $20 each. A domain is just your website, so for example, Amazon.com. And mailboxes are just email addresses that you assign to each domain. Those are usually around $3 or $4 each. Typically, the math goes like this. Each domain can have 3 mailboxes on it. And the reason for that is you don't want to have too many mailboxes on one domain, because even if one mailbox gets sent to spam, that means the others can too. So you don't want to have one mailbox per domain. You want to have a few of them, but not too many. So usually it's 3 mailboxes per domain, and each mailbox on average per day can send around 25 emails. This means that if we have 3 mailboxes, we can send 75 emails per day. And 75 emails per day is just going to be around 2,250 emails per month. But obviously 75 emails per day isn't that much. For context, if we were sending this list with only 3 mailboxes, it would take us around a year to clear all of them, which is why we usually recommend starting with something like 10 domains or 30 mailboxes. And this is already much better. If we do the math, this is going to be 10 times more, meaning that we can send 22,500 emails per month. And this means that we would be able to clear a list of around 8,000 people in less than 45 days. So you can already see how easy it is to scale up this sending. And so for context, these 10 domains would cost you around $150 to $200 per year because they renew every year. And 30 mailboxes usually cost around $4 per month. So this is going to be $120 per month of cost that you're absorbing. Now, the agencies that we've worked with, which we've seen really kill it, oftentimes they get 100 domains and 300 mailboxes. And if you do the math, it's still relatively affordable. It's $1,200 per month. So I hope this clears up the math to you. What I would do in your case is I would go to something like ChatGPT. You would talk with it about the kind of volume you're trying to send. I would tell it your budget, and I would take a screenshot of this just so it has more information to help you make a choice. But what we actually do in our program is we handle this for free. So at one point we did have an agency that needed 100 domains, and we were pretty happy to take care of it for them. We gave them 100 domains for free, and we also set up 300 mailboxes for them at no cost. The setup per cost is around $3, and it's one time, so they saved almost $3,000 for the domains and mailboxes combined. So if you're interested in that, just book a cold email strategy session with us below using that second link in the description. So we can actually do this entire process for you, add in those advanced personalization and sending tactics, and also handle the setup for you for free. Now after this, for steps 5 to 7, we will go to a platform called Instantly AI. Instantly is basically the platform that we're going to be connecting all of our mailboxes to, and it's going to be sending the campaigns and the emails for us. Instantly is also super affordable for any agency. Once again, I'm not sponsored by them, but you can actually get a cool free trial. I'll link that in the description so you can redeem it. But basically what this allows you to do is have unlimited mailboxes connected, and you can send 100,000 monthly emails. But once you actually sign up for an account, this is how it's going to look like. Now, the only basic features you need to know for now are just the email accounts as well as the campaigns. If I walk you through the email sending accounts first, you'll notice that I have a lot of mailboxes connected here. And the way I basically do that is I click on add new, and it's going to allow me to connect different mailboxes. Now, Instantly has their own done for you email setup. It's a bit expensive, so I would recommend that you get someone else to do it. As I said, we actually handle all of the setup for you, and we even connect it to your Instantly so that there's no hassle. But inside of Instantly, there's something called warm-up, and warm-up is extremely necessary. What warm-up does is, over a period of around 2 or 3 weeks, it sends off emails that look real to other addresses, to other inboxes, so that email platforms like Google and Microsoft know that you're a legitimate sender and you're not just going to be spamming people. And there's some more details that go into it, but if you ever have any questions, you can honestly just ask Instantly support how to warm up your mailboxes, and they would be glad to help you out. And then secondly, in Instantly, once you've connected your mailboxes, you can go ahead and create a campaign. And you will do this using the campaign section over here. And once you're in this campaign section, you're basically just going to add in a new campaign here. You can name it whatever. And the reason Instantly is so simple is because they truly make it simple. So over here in this lead section, you would just add in your leads, and you can add them in using a CSV. So a CSV is just the same type of file that Excel or Google Sheets use. And if you're doing all of this scraping yourself, you'll actually know that a platform like Trusted Leads is going to send you the leads right in this CSV format. So all that's left for you to do is to basically upload your CSV, and your leads are going to be in your campaign. After that, you have the sequences section. This is where your emails actually go. So for this 4 email sequence that I actually wrote up here, what I would do is I would copy each of these sequences. So email 1 would go into step 1 over here. And for a subject, of course, I'd have to add in a subject line, something like, hey, first name, usually works really well. And then after I would add in that first email, I would add in the second email, which is over here, and then also add in the third, which I have over here, and you pretty much get the point. After you've done that, I would just head on to the schedule section, so you can set up the times that you're sending on. Usually I would go from Monday to Saturday, just leave Sunday off, and something like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is honestly fine to start with. Next up in the options, there are a lot of small optimizations you can make here, but they're pretty straightforward. What you do here is you connect your accounts, or basically the mailboxes. They're all going to pop up here, and you want to set up some basic settings. So for delivery optimization, I would strongly recommend that you send all emails as text only, because HTML, which is kind of like code, Google, Microsoft, they don't really like seeing that. So you just want to send them as text only. And then for the daily limit, just do the math. So if you have 30 mailboxes that are each sending 25 emails per day, that's going to be 750 emails in total. So you probably would just want to limit it to 750. And then you would go ahead and click on save. And then you would click on launch once your campaign is ready to go. So now we've created the campaign. The last step is handling replies and actually converting these referral partners into people that can get you clients. So here are 3 steps that I can suggest to you. Number 1 is Reply ASAP. Instantly has a mobile app so you can download it on your phone, and every time a positive reply comes through, it's going to send you a notification. So that's going to notify you, and your job from there is to get to them as soon as possible and send them a reply. Within 5 minutes is preferred. Please don't wait hours because that just increases the risk that they won't respond. Step number 2 is every time try to steer the conversation towards booking a call. However, if they ask you a question, I would usually suggest that you answer it or you give them some value so that they don't feel like they're being ignored. Because the last thing you want them to do is to think that you're ignoring their questions and just pushing for a call. So usually just answer their questions, answer any of their objections, and from there, you can send them something like a calendar link. And then number 3 is a 1-week follow-up strategy. Before calling a lead dead or an opportunity as something that you missed, you have to do at least 1 week of follow-up. And usually what this means is on days 1, 3, and 5, you're going to be sending them email nudges. So you can say things like, checking in on my last note. I know inboxes can get busy sometimes. Here's my calendar link in case you miss it again. Feel free to book anytime or send you a calendar. And this is super simple. It's pretty much basic sales. You're just trying to get them towards this call booking, and you're sending them 3 emails on days 1, 3, and 5. On day 7, what I also love doing is kind of sending a breakup email. So the subject line of something like that can be their name, and then, are you giving up on X? X being whatever you're offering. And oftentimes that just gets them to reply and convert. It's kind of like a last resort, even though a lot of people will reply on days 1, 3, and 5. And so with this 7-step framework, you're setting yourself up to get 20 referral partners in 90 days. If the insurance broker I know managed to add $90,000 per month to his insurance agency without buying any leads and actually doing this entire process manually, so sending out emails to each loan officer that he could find one by one instead of automating the entire process, and also having the system run by itself. So if done correctly, this can be a really powerful system. Finally, let's take a look at the timeline here and the expected metrics. So the timeline is that for the first 2 weeks, you want to set up your campaigns and then warm up your mailboxes. You want to warm your mailboxes up as soon as possible because they do take 2 to 3 weeks to warm up, and the sooner you get them done is the sooner you can launch. Week 3 is when you can launch your campaigns. Week 4 to 8 is when you're answering to replies, following up endlessly over the 7-day period, and booking those calls. And within some time, you should see referrals flow from your referral partners. Now, to make sure that a timeline like this is actually realistic for you, there are some metrics that you should keep in mind. Usually, you want to be sending around 1,000 emails per day. So for this, you would need something like 30 to 50 mailboxes, along with a 6 to 12% reply rate, which is ideally booking you around 3 to 5 calls per week. And if even around 20 to 30% of those people become your referral partners, you should comfortably get 15 of them across a 90-day time period. And as I said before, this is not something that's unrealistic. We've pushed crazy numbers before, 10,000 emails, we've gotten good reply rates, and we've gotten many opportunities. And I could stockpile a bunch of emails here just to show you how this all happens, but honestly, the framework and the resources are all in front of you. As I said before, if you don't want to waste any time learning how to get this set up, you can book a free one-on-one with us using the calendar link in the description. So we can talk about setting up a system for your agency that you would own, which runs on autopilot, or you can also join our free community along with that lead generation course that I was talking about before. But with this, I do appreciate you for watching until the end of the video. You're clearly committed because this video is going to come out to be around 45 to 60 minutes long, and I wish nothing but the best for your agency.